Hey, so I'm back out here with something that I haven't really messed with in a while. I've been riding it, but I haven't really done a video on it. So this is one of those bittersweet things. I get to work on something, but I have to work on something. Changing out the speedometer on my TBR7. Alright, so I did the digital dash upgrade, and this is just my experience, but the term upgrade to this digital dash, upgrade is a very loose term. So, for starters, the tach is not at all accurate. I mean, cruising down the highway, this thing's running 10 or 11 sometimes, and then sometimes running the same speed, it's running 8, and I'm in the exact same gear, nothing's changed. The odometer never worked, and that's kind of a problem. The fuel gauge was always off. I tried tweaking the settings and everything. The speedometer, I could never get it right, and I'm just fed up with it. You know, if anybody else has had a similar issue, let me know. I know there's a bunch of people that have done this upgrade and love it. Maybe I did something wrong, I'm not sure, but this has got to go, so I'm fixing to get rid of it. And I know y'all are gonna give me hell for this, but I'm replacing it with this right here. This is just your basic GPS speedometer, so I don't have to worry about calculating tire sizes or any of that. It just uses GPS signal and has an odometer, and that's it. There's no fuel gauge, there's no tachometer, there's nothing. Just this. I have ridden tons of bikes that had just this, and I was fine with it. But first things first, all this has to come out. So if you decide you want to go this route, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. You only need 2 pins. If you're going to want this thing to come on only when your ignition's on, there's no constant power to this. It runs strictly through the ignition. So this brown wire right here on your 9-pin connector, tie your red and yellows together, or whatever the backlight and the power are for your gauge. Tie those together and hook them up to that. That's your ignition wire. And then the green down here is your ground. So now I've got it all plugged in. I put some connectors on it to see if it's going to work. And boom. I got the multicolor one. This is pretty cool. Oh, cool. It saved my setting. I had it on green. It usually starts off red, but cool. It's not going to pull a GPS signal because I don't have the antenna hooked up yet. But this will work. So what I'm going to do now is take this back apart. I robbed the connector off the old dash cluster, and I'm just going to push those in it. I know it seems like a waste, 2 pins for 9, but I really don't feel like unwiring all that crap on that side. So I'll hook those up into here, plug it in, we'll test it again. So that's connected. All right. So every step I go to, I test it to make sure it's still working, just in case I've messed something up with wiring or whatever. So I've got it connected. Looks like it cuts on. Perfect. Cool. On to the next one. So the mount that came with this gauge, these holes right here, I want to use that bottom hole and mount it right there. But the hole isn't quite large enough, so I'm going to have to drill it out real quick. Give me a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Took this bottom hole here and drilled it out just a little bit, just to make clearance for this bolt. So now I'm gonna mount it up. Of course, when I get everything back together, I'll be able to adjust it correctly. Still gotta tighten that other bolt, but I'm not gonna do that yet. As far as the GPS receiver goes, I was gonna mount it down here next to the gauge, but I was worried about interference from the gauge, the headlight, everything being right there in front of it. So what I'm going to do instead is back this bolt out right here and mount it just like that, so there's no interference. I'll get plenty of good signal, and it's out of the way. I mean, it's not going to be in the way of my hands or anything, so I think it'll work out good. got the bike warming up. What I'm gonna do is actually test out a couple things. What I'm gonna do is test the speedometer against my phone. I'll have it mounted right here so I can make sure that the speed and the distance are both accurate. Cool. I always forget how fun this bike is to ride. So I did 11.6 miles and it's showing 14 on here. I already had 3 on this odometer. So I don't really like the fact that this doesn't show tenths of a mile, but I mean, it is what it is. I know it's kind of squeezed in there, but a lot of this stuff is going to get moved around. I've actually got some plans for the bike to really change it up, to really make it my own. So that's going to be a good one. I'm impressed with this speedometer. It does exactly what I want it to do, and I was amazed at how smooth the needle is on it. I expected it being a GPS, updating, it would kind of be choppy. Nah, it's smooth the entire time. So I'm with it. I'm happy with it, and it was a super simple install, so win-win. This is actually the first time I've ever put a GPS speedometer on anything. Everything I've used has either been mechanical or digital. I've never had an actual GPS-fed speedometer before, so this is cool. And I wasn't expecting a whole lot, especially for what I paid for it, but this is not bad. I'm impressed with it. I might even buy one to put on the van. But anyway, I hope this video helped. If somebody decides to go this route, and I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments that are like, oh, what about your fuel gauge? Oh, what about your gear indicator? Oh, what about your tachometer? I rode motorcycles for years that all they had were speedometers and odometers. It's okay. I'll include links in the description for the stuff that I bought. Now, granted, you're going to have to make some minor modifications. You're going to have to like drill a hole bigger, stuff like that. But it's not really complicated stuff. But make sure you bolt it down good. When I first took it out on a test ride, the speedometer wanted to spin on me. So make sure you tighten it up really well and use Loctite if you've got it. But if you haven't already, you can like and subscribe. Make sure you use the links in the description to pick up a t-shirt from MiniBike Apparel. And until next time, y'all get up, get out there, get after it.